Mike Can, walking in Cambridge, Mass. On the TSA out of the MBTA Day of Action. Very exciting day. I checked in. I'll be walking some of this march. Got a bad back, so I won't hit the whole thing. But I'm definitely walking in my hood, and I'm getting updates. And I know that the Pirate Party is here. I know that there's a group of people in Central Square marching right now, and I'm about to catch up with them. I can actually hear them at this point, and they're still a good distance away. I am your host. We'll be doing the show today all about our activism. It's happening. Page 3 of the Metro this week. Lots of news, lots of media on the activism that we do on our show and with the people that we're working with in Boston. This is our city. This is our city. Remember that. TSA out of the MBTA. Two hotheads.
All right, well. Why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? I don't know what it's doing. Are they in there? Yeah, we gotta go in there. There's actually, no, they got TSA in there right now. That's
We woke up this morning, we're like, yeah, we're gonna go into Boston, we're gonna march with 200 people, 217 people, you know? There's what, 50, 60 people here, maybe 80? But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't take 200 people to get the TSA off the MBTA. It doesn't take that, okay? I remember back in 2009 when FEMA tried getting the Model State Powers Act passed here in Massachusetts, okay? And myself and about 50 other people went every week to that State House and lobbied and went from door to door to office to office to office, and we killed that bill in committee. Anybody that ever sat through a GA at Occupy Boston has the patience and the wherewithal to get the TSA out of the MBTA. Anyone from the Ron Paul movement that sat at a caucus and listened to some neocon drone on about brown people and how they're dangerous. You know, we didn't bother, okay? We can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah!
The first step. It's freezing outside. People walked out of their doors this morning. They were like, "Fuck, it's cold." Maybe I'll come next time. I'm sure they'll do it again. You know, and so let's do it again. Let's keep this moving. Stay involved on Facebook. Follow our Twitter at Defend the Fourth. If you see the TSA somewhere, hashtag Defend the Fourth and tweet it.
Yeah!
They can avoid, because the fact of the matter is, they want to say, "Oh, well, this isn't a search." Well, it is a search, because what's a search? If you are doing something with the intent of finding something, that's a search.
Yeah!
So it doesn't make absolute any difference whether it's a swab, it's a swipe, it's a chat down, it's a search.
It's illegal.
And it does exactly, and it's illegal. And it doesn't matter what a court says, okay? Because a court held up separate but equal. But was that right? Was that okay? No, it wasn't. It was bullshit, and this is bullshit, and we're gonna stop it, and we can do it together, and we can do it with 10 people, 20 people.
Now, Occupy is what the United
Oh yeah, there's lots of people doing it.
I mean, those numbers, that's solidarity.
They do not have that power.
What's that?
It's not only the United States Constitution, but also the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Article 14.
As it turns out, I'm not alone in thinking that. The ACLU and a lot of other people agree with that and have put out statements to that effect. And when I started saying stuff about how we should have a protest and came up with this multi-leg protest idea, a lot of people decided that they thought that was a good idea too. And the hardiest among them are still with us even now.
That's all you guys.
That's all you guys. The one big thing that people use to dismiss the argument against the random searches is they say, well, you know, we have the whole judicial branch of our government that exists to protect our rights and to make sure that they're not infringed by the legislative branch. And you know, these things come to court, and the courts seem to be upholding things like this, and, you know, they want to throw that in your face. This is something that is not new. This is something that was happening here in this area back at the beginning of this country, where the British had their writs of assistance, and this is in part what prompted the drafting of the Fourth Amendment to begin with. And there have been many judges on the Supreme Court and in appellate courts who have upheld the right of the people to be free from unreasonable search and seizure. The only way that the courts can justify this kind of behavior is by stretching the concept of reasonable to include things that do not contain a specific reason. They need to have a reason to search you. That is what reasonable means. They don't need to have a vague hunch that there are criminals out there and that they're trying to get them. If they're going to stop you and ask you to submit to some kind of search, no matter how they say, oh, it only takes a second, oh, it's not a big deal, why are you complaining? They need to have a warrant. They need to be able to demonstrate to a judge that they have a reasonable suspicion that you're involved in some kind of crime in order to search you. And this is something that has been a part of Massachusetts history for quite a while. It was in 1756 that the colony of Massachusetts first came up with legislation to bar the use of general warrants. And that was the first law in American history that curtailed the use of seizure power.
Right here.
Right here in Massachusetts. Woo! And James Otis from Massachusetts is the one who was one of the drafters of the Fourth Amendment. The courts ruled against him at the time, before they drafted the Fourth Amendment, but anyway, there are so many different judges who have said things. One of the most famous was Justice Brandeis from the Supreme Court, and he's very famous in this area. I have a wonderful quote from Brandeis about how oh, here we go. Yeah, sorry. All right. Here we go. Brandeis. He affirmed that the right to be let alone is the most comprehensive of rights and the right most valued by civilized people. Thank you all for coming out to help show the world that Boston is a civilized city and not a police state, and that we will not stand for violations of our right to be let alone. Thank you.
Small irate minority to make a difference in this world.
Yeah!
So let's be that small irate minority. When we put out something to say, hey, we're going to be at the State House, we have meetings scheduled with officials, all right, at the MBTA, show up, be there, be involved, and we will get the TSA off of the MBTA.
Are we going to wait as a city until we get to stop and frisk? Is it going to take people on the street to pat you down and say, you're not carrying a weapon, right? Let me just feel your legs up to make sure. No, let's all work together. Let's talk to each other in this group and really build something out of this, because we're all very, very concerned. You know, it's February. You guys have all come out in 30 degrees, partly cloudy skies. I really appreciate everybody who came out and took the time, you know, to try to make a change here. And we're going to be taking this further. You know, anybody on the event page or anyone at the Defend the Fort Twitter, we're going to be putting up ways to actually reach out to our legislators, you know, which...
The blog,
and we have a blog site that's going to be set up too with a list of everybody to reach out to. So please follow the Twitter, you know, that's where we can get your information. We're going to have a website set up. But please make sure you talk to each other, because this thing is growing around us. And if we let left and right and frickin' middle or whatever divide us, we will never stop this concerted effort to strip your rights by Homeland Security. No more. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah!